Hi everyone, welcome back to Evermore YouTube channel. It's Chris back with the rumour has it video where we're talking about players linked to Newcastle United in the coming transfer window. That is a few months away, it's January, but given everything that's going on with our midfield in particular in the squad, there has been a few names linked to Newcastle United over the last few days, and we just thought we'd do a little bit of a video about it to talk about those players, how we think they would fit in the Newcastle United picture and what the likelihood really of that happening is. So we're going to get stuck right into that in a second. Just before we do, a little reminder, as we always say, if you haven't already, consider subscribing. We'd love you to come and join us. We're over 5,400 subs, loads of room for you guys here. You can click like, become a member if you want. It's less than £2 a month, loads of Newcastle United content. We've got What's Going On every Monday at 10 p.m. We've got Rumour Has It shows, just like the one you've got to watch, match previews, post-match analysis, everything Newcastle United and more, and the odd rant as well if you like one of those. But not much to rant about recently, so hopefully something else will kick off soon and I'll be at it. So yeah, smash that button, come and join us, guys. You won't regret it. So let's get stuck in. Who we're talking about then? It's called the midfielders. We don't have any super duper stats in this one for Mark's stats computer because I quote, one has barely played and one plays pub team football. And that is from the stat man, Mark himself. So you can take that to the bank. But yeah, there's a couple of midfielders been linked to Newcastle United. One massively in particular, who I think we've been linked to us before. A very good player, but playing very little football at the minute. We're going to get stuck right with him first. And it's this lad right here, Kalvin Phillips, which is pretty much the face he's pulling, wondering why the fuck he went to Man City in the first place. Yes, he signed for Manchester City for 42 million quid from Leeds back in July 2022. He was one of the best defensive midfielders in the league, hands down, when he was at Leeds United. You know, playing on that Bielsa side, he was absolutely fantastic, winning the ball, spraying passes around, getting involved in the play. He was a fantastic footballer and rightly so called up for the England squad. Him and Rice formed this beautiful double pivot as defensive midfield and really were key to Southgate's success in tournaments. And Kalvin Phillips is a really good footballer, but he's played fucking hardly any football since he's got to Manchester City. He's played 26 times since he's gone to Manchester City, which is just nuts, really. A player of that quality should be playing way more football. And it looks like it's finally come to a crunch for Kalvin Phillips. And it looks like January will spell the exit for Kalvin Phillips. Even Pep Guardiola has been saying that recently. Fabrizio Romano has said that an exit is likely for Kalvin Phillips. I think he was close in the summer. Apparently, we were looking at him for a number 6 position, and that was a position that Eddie really wanted to get filled. I think Liverpool were interested in Kalvin Phillips too, but then again, Liverpool wanted to sign every single defensive midfielder in the world. I think they even rang me once, but they realised I'm fat and shit, and I couldn't fit into that system really, and I wouldn't want to play for Jurgen Klopp because he's a dick. But yeah, so they were dying to sign a defensive midfielder. But Kalvin Phillips is a really good footballer. 27 years old, he's got the peak of his powers really, and I think if you got Kalvin Phillips into Newcastle United, you got him working with Eddie Howe, getting up to that level of fitness that Eddie Howe wants his players to play. Look at Anthony Gordon's a prime example. Look at Sean Longstaff, great example. If you had Kalvin Phillips in this squad as the number 6 defensive midfielder, I think he'd be a fantastic asset. I don't think Man City are going to get 42 million quid for him, rising to 45, what they did. You'd probably be looking anywhere between 30 and 40 million quid for the player, probably mainly because he's an England national. And I think that's good business, but I don't know whether a loan deal is probably going to be in the cards. But apparently, obviously, Newcastle are very interested. West Ham and Bayern Munich, of all teams, are very interested in Kalvin Phillips in the January window. I think he's a really good player. I really do. What pisses me off about him getting an England squad ahead like Sean Longstaff is he's just not playing. He shouldn't get in the England squad. But I think as a footballer, Kalvin Phillips has a lot of really good qualities about him. He's a northern lad as well. I think the move to Newcastle would appeal from that regard as well. He'd be quite close to Leeds. Could even live halfway if he wants and still be an hour away from Newcastle United, getting there for the training and everything else or whatnot. But I think this could be a really good move for the player and for Newcastle United as well, because with Sandro Tonali's ban impending, which could be up to a year or more, we're going to need some more experience and quality in that midfield. I love the emergence of Anderson. I love Louis Miley in the background, kind of just coming through slowly. But we need experience, especially if we're going to push on to the latter stages of Champions Leagues and try to get back in the top 4 or even further, try to win FA Cups and Carabao Cups. We're going to need some experience to come into the squad. And Kalvin Phillips gives you that experience and he gives you that quality as well. So for me, this is a big yes for me. But let us know, guys, what you think in the comments below, whether you think that Kalvin Phillips would be a good addition to the squad or not. But I definitely think that something's going to happen in January, no doubt about it. But that's Kalvin Phillips. That one, I think, looks good, looks like an easy fit for Newcastle, for the player, for the links in the media. I think that one's got a real good chance. If I was going to percentage it, I think that one is a real 80% chance of happening. I really do, because everything about Newcastle should appeal to Kalvin Phillips as well as a player. And if he turned us down to go West Ham or Bayern Munich, you kind of half understand, I suppose. Try you look abroad and everything, but everything Newcastle United is the club, the manager, where we're going, the fans, war flags, the stadium, the atmosphere, the way we look after players. Total perfect sense for Kalvin Phillips to make that move. Do the right thing, Kalvin, and get your ass up to Newcastle. But moving on to the next player who's linked, this one could definitely put the cat amongst the pigeons if there's any truth in this at all. But obviously the ban for Sandro Tonali, rumour has it that the owners were obviously livid about it. What could the owners do? What could the Saudi Arabian PIF owners do to fix this problem of Newcastle United losing a top quality midfielder? Maybe replace him with one that they already have in one of their teams. And that would be this fella right here, Ruben Neves, 26 years old, Ruben Neves. I can't believe it. He went over to Saudi Arabia at 26 years old. My God. It was a great player for Wolves, as you know, defensive midfielder, Portuguese international, quality player, strong in the tackle, great with the ball, real leader as well, did really well for Wolves, kept them up and everything else. Went over to play for al-hilal. And 47 million they signed him for. Now the story is, this could be total bullshit. This could just be lazy media going click. But apparently the rumor is that the PIF were willing to sanction a 2-year loan deal for Ruben Neves to come over to Newcastle to fill the hole that Sandro Tonali's ban would present. Now, I personally think this would be fucking hilarious, just to watch the likes of Miguel Delaney and Oliver Holt piss their pants with just absolute outrage. But the whole football world would go fucking nuts about this. And I think it could open up the floodgates in terms of not just the shit that the club would get and the negative, attitude around the football club, but also, if that loan deal gets sanctioned, could we do other loan deals? You're talking about Benzema, Ronaldo. I know it's a bit of a stretch. Benzema, Ronaldo, Milenkovic, Savic, Kante, all these players, Llorente, all these players who are playing over there. Could we, do tricky loan deals to Newcastle about that? And you just know everyone will go fucking mental about it. Those big greedy clubs are happy to take the money from Saudi for those players who are in their 30s, but they'll be going mad if Newcastle try to loan them, you can guarantee it. But yeah, the Neves one could present a lot of problems, I think. But you know what? I've always said and I've always thought, if a major problem happens at Newcastle United and they've got these quality players over in Saudi, if the PIF are happy to loan them out and we can sanction a deal, I don't see why that couldn't happen. Obviously, the bedwetting and the pure hysteria in the world of football around probably would prevent that happening, but it would be hilarious just for that. But I'm not sure the Neves thing is really going to come off. I think it could just be a little bit of lazy journalism. The Phillips one sounds a bit more on the money to me. There was another name thrown in there in Scott McTominay, I think, who's a really good player as well. I think he's shown that, certainly for Scotland and for Manchester United of late, coming back to the team. They clearly don't want him around. A lot of people, kind of wrote Scott McTominay off, but I think he's shown he's a lot more than what maybe a lot of people thought he was as well. So Scott McTominay could be another one as well, I think, to throw in there. The main two I want to talk about today was obviously Phillips and Neves, but we'll see what happens. I think the closer we get to January, the more information we get about Tonali's ban. I think that's when all the names will get thrown at as linked. Bang, 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 midfielders all over the place. And I don't think we'll be able to keep up on rumour has it, as well as everybody else trying to cover them on videos as well. But that's what I've got to say about that. So let us know what you guys think in the comments below. Would you take either one of these players? Which one would you prefer? Phillips, Neves, or neither? If there's somebody else, let us know in the comments below what you think. But also let us know, do we need to sign another player once Tonali's ban is rubber stamped? Do you think the Newcastle squad needs another injection of experience and quality now we've lost that player? Would love to hear from you. Drop us a comment. As we said at the start, if you haven't already, consider subscribing. We'd love to have you on board. Loads of room for you. Click the member option if you fancy it. Less than £2 a month. Keep it ever more, guys. We'll be back with some more Newcastle United content soon. Have a good one. See you later.